AJ, only 2 minutes late. How we doing?
Pretty good, man. What's up?
Did you know that Horizon Call of the Mountain has gone gold?
Oh my God. I was going to say this stream has gone gold because it's finally ready.
It's finally ready.
Yeah, man. That's awesome news. And I realized actually how many Fire Sprite developers I had been following since the Persistence days.
They all retweeted.
Because they all came out in just like troves, just like, oh my God. Yeah. I was like, wow. Okay. Then they're all saying how excited they are. And, it's been so long that they've been wanting to share it and talk about it. So awesome stuff, man. With only 16 days to go, Horizon is now gold.
Very exciting. For anyone who doesn't know what gold means, it means that the game is ready to ship. They have completed the game and gone through all these certifications and necessary requirements. It's very exciting. It used to mean something a whole lot more back in the day. It used to mean that they were printing actual discs and shipping them in boxes. It means much less today. That aside, let's start the show.
Let's go.
This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live right here, video format, youtube.com/without Parole Games. We do it live for your viewing pleasure. It's funny. I've got a different camera setup, and so now it always looks like I'm looking over here, like as if something really interesting is happening just past you guys. My name is Bryan Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole, and this gentleman over here, far south of me, it's AJ from the Underground, PSVR Underground.
Stop. Please stop. That is I don't know how that sounds to them, but that is like a cement grinder on my ears.
Thank you to all of our podcast listeners out there. Remember, you can listen to us on podcast services of your choice. Number 25 in the UK, top 100 in the US.
Number 25, top 100 in the U.S. Let's go, baby. What is up, Bryan? What is up, Game Cats? Happy Monday. And I know that Mondays usually suck, but we are here, Bryan, to ensure their Monday sucks. Just a little bit less.
Oh, I wasn't ready for it. I was drinking coffee. Hey, so AJ, we've got so much stuff to talk about today, but let's make sure that we do all of our housekeeping first. Guys, if you're not already members of our Discord server. Housekeeping. Remember when we just stole everything from Podcast Beyond and all the other shows? Yeah, and now when we say shit like that, I'm like, wait, what's that from? Is that us? That from? Yeah.
No, that was Tommy Boy, I think.
Oh, right. Right, I'm sure they said it a lot too. Join our Discord. You guys missed out on yesterday's multiplayer. The cats played some Farpoint, some co-op Farpoint, and so I have no idea how they did it because I wasn't around for it, unfortunately.
Crap.
Every single Sunday they do multiplayer meetups, so make sure you get in on those. There's probably a lot of PSVR 1 games sitting in your back catalog that have not gotten the love that they deserve, so make sure you head over there. Click the link in the description below. Join Discord. Guys, also don't forget, I got to do the Miles Dyer thing. Subscribe to this channel while you're here. If you're new here, I saw Kim in the chat saying it's his first time here watching, so welcome. Thank you for catching us live. But don't forget that I'm not the only channel doing stuff around here. We've got a whole family of awesome YouTubers, including AJ right here from PSVR Underground. His link is in the description below. Make sure you subscribe to him because even if his channel seems a little quiet right now, it's gonna explode.
It's coming back, baby. It's coming back in full force. You better believe it. Things are ramping up in the underground. I've been doing lots of shit behind the scenes, and I cannot wait. Man, woo, so close now. 16 days. Oh, my God. I think there's going to be stuff going on before then, though. But 16 days till we get PSVR2, and it's going to be glorious.
Wait, what's going on before then? I need to know.
Wouldn't you like to know? You better...
Yeah.
I'm not going to say subscribe and hit the notification because that's so YouTubery. It makes me cringe. But just talk to me later and I'll tell you what happened.
I feel like you're holding out on the loyal people who are here for the show. Matt's in the chat. It's his first time watching, and you're just gonna hold information from him. That seems silly.
Yep.
And there you have it. 16 days. Let's do this shit. All right, man. Man, oh man. What's up, everybody in the chat? How's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're having a nice day. It is officially laundry day, or I should say it's 3 days past laundry day because I'm wearing an Endeavor One hoodie that I've never worn before. It's got cat hair on it, but
oh
yeah,
it's a nice little hoodie. The beanie they sent me, dude. I wear that beanie like everywhere. I'm sure you got the beanie too.
Maybe it does seem more of an AJ gift.
Yeah. You don't say. What's that supposed to mean?
Means you're easily bought for just the price of a beanie. You've got AJ in your back pocket.
What can I say?
We got some tips to take care of here in the chat, starting with Belramio, the Gamecat, with the 24 euros. He left this before we even started the stream. He says, sorry, I can't watch live. I'm busy tomorrow morning. But Gran Turismo 7 will definitely sell more headsets than any other announced game so far. Sim guys with $800 plus wheels will happily add VR to their setup. Dude, it's so true, right? Like I keep seeing pictures of people with their crazy racing rigs, like the non-VR racing rigs with like 3 monitors in front of them, right? They've got the whole racing rig like I do, but they've got monitors set up. It's like you want to be in VR, you just can't admit it yet.
Yeah, it's so much easier than to have that like 3 monitor thing, and it's way more immersive and fun. So super cool. I'll tell you what GT7 is going to sell a lot of. I tell you what, GT7 is selling a shit ton of racing wheels. I mean, yourself included. Literally every conversation I've had for the past 2 weeks with various people has been like, I got a racing wheel, and I got my setup, and they've been showing me all their pictures. They look fucking fantastic,
got a racing
by
wheel,
the way.
You got a racing wheel. We all got racing wheels.
That I'm surprised the racing wheels. I mean, I'm glad you guys are getting on it now because it's going to be hard to find them later. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like we are the early adopters, right? Sony hasn't even shockingly, dude, 16 days before launch, Sony hasn't started marketing, right? Can we give a quick shout out to Shuhei Yoshida, right?
Yes.
Who tweeted my video of 115 plus PSVR2 games in development. Which was super nice, right? Like we all love Shuhei. He was. I think you and I both agree, AJ, that under his leadership, Sony rose to the greatest they've ever been in terms of just output,
everything.
Yeah, output and quality and communication and charm. Like I mean, everything. Like their ad campaigns were killing it. Like, and obviously Shu wasn't responsible for all of that, but under good leadership, I think corporations do thrive. And right now, we don't know what Sony's capable of in terms of this generation. We don't know how they're going to market PSVR2 because 16 days away, they haven't started marketing it. But so shout out to Shuhei who tweeted out my video. But more importantly than that, thank you to all the cats out there, because it would have been one thing just to been like, oh, it's so cool to see Brian's video tweeted out by Shuhei Yoshida. But the response was more than that. The response was like this outpouring of support where it was like, hey,
for sure,
Without Parole should really get a headset for review. Something that I've been obviously struggling with, being like just the stress and the anxiety has been mounting in my head so much that's actually been affecting me physically. And I know I'm not getting a headset for review, but the outpouring of support just made me feel better somehow. So thank you guys so much for making it very clear how much you're on our side and how much you've got our backs when it comes to all this stuff. So thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you guys for sure. Yep. Always so supportive. So much love and support. Love it.
Yeah. Tech Noir in the chat said last month with the 5 quid says last month Bryan defecated on my 120 FPS VR dream. Now Gran Turismo 7 120 FPS defecated on Bryan. This makes me happy. Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's right. Get defecated, Bryan.
Yeah, it's really good stuff, man. Like this just shows you how much extra horsepower that foveated rendering and eye tracking allows when used in tandem.
Yeah, I mean, all these tips are taking care of all of our discussions, so we don't even We don't even have to do a show anymore.
For sure. Darth Vader, the Gamecat with the $10 tip says 16 days, everyone. Indeed. We are on the cusp of launch, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to jump back into Resident Evil Village and play in a whole new way. The hype is freaking real. Thank you so much, Darth Vader, for the donation.
Hey, Darth. Yeah, Resi Village is absolutely my number one most anticipated game. And I predict, Brian, I predict that it is going to be the best game at launch. Mark my words.
Okay. I predict it'll be the best game, but it won't be the best VR game.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really care either way. I'm just excited to.
There's so many great games. Like, so many great games. I can't wait.
Yeah. I just want to have this video playing here. There we go. This is every announced PSVR2 game. There is one missing, of course. We got Before Your Eyes. It didn't make the list for some reason, but it'll get on the next one. We got a ton more tips. Let's blast through these. Thank you guys so much for your generosity and keeping the channel up and running. Sir Moses with the 5 rupees. He says, "Hi Brian, hi AJ. Remember last year about the Firewall store page Easter egg? First Contact tweeted about the February 21st picture. I was right. You know, it's really nice that a lot of people in our community like to pat themselves on the back so much, AJ, isn't it? They're like, look how right I was. Look, it's amazing. The real question though is when is Firewall Ultra actually coming out? Because it just got what did it do? Did it just get like an official rating? What was the deal with that? There was recent news on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it did get, I think, an official rating or whatever, and they had all that we have officially confirmed is that it is 2023. I don't think we have any other info than that, and I mean, my guess is, I don't know. My guess is they're trying to make launch, but it would be interesting. But there's been no indication that it's going to be a launch game just yet. Probably like a Q3, Q4 game, if I had to guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, with zero inside information, a pure speculation. My guess was that was going to be a holiday game, that we were going to see that holiday 2023. That was going to be a headset seller for this upcoming Christmas, and especially with everything else. But games don't get rated that early on. Like, so I do feel like that maybe they've got an announcement impending, and we're going to, either see it after the launch window, sometime after. I have no idea, but it's kind of exciting, man. Like, shit's heating up, like big time.
Yeah, I mean, and what a game. I mean, Firewall is an amazing game, so that would be a really, really awesome addition early on.
Yeah. Scott Thorpe with the 5 quid says, "Get that countdown timer back on the screen so we can count the seconds." Dude, I keep
Where's the timer?
I don't know. AJ, vamp for a second so I can find the countdown timer.
Do what?
What'd you say? Just sit there. Just sit there and look pretty. I got the countdown timer up and running. There you go, Scott.
That's what
Thorpe.
I always do, baby.
Thank you, Scott Thorpe, for the reminder and the donation. We got Andrew Bailey with the 2 quid. Says, "Miles is correct. Bryan is a silly sausage."
You are a silly sausage.
And here this whole time I thought I was a spicy sausage. Who knew? Now it's Bryan, the game feline, with the $5 tip, says, "Fingers and toes crossed for Sony's PSVR2 marketing campaign to kick off during Super Bowl Sunday," which is this Sunday, and I only know that because The Last of Us is airing on Friday this week instead of Sunday. which, by the way, no spoilers for The Last of Us, but last night's episode, thumbs up.
Overall, thumbs up.
Overall, thumbs up. Yeah, fantastic blend of just awesome of storytelling. Things that feel like they could be part of a Last of Us game, and then going off the rails just enough to keep all of us gamers who have played the game enough times interested. Very, very cool. They're doing a great job. Patrick with the $5 tip says, "PSVR2 is my first VR experience. Thank you for keeping me hyped." Patrick, thank you for keeping me employed.
Man.
What's up?
I mean, could you imagine your first VR experience being PSVR2? No. Good God, man. Just look, just take it easy. Just all I got to say, if you've never played VR before and you're jumping into PSVR2, just breathe. Don't forget to breathe because, oh my God.
And if you're like somehow not impressed when you put it on, like, just hit pause. Go play some PSVR 1 or Quest 2 games and see what we've been playing for the last 6 years. And then I think you'll be much more appreciative of where we've gotten to.
Dude, the menu, like when the first main menu that you see, you're going to be like, oh my God. Like, Yeah.
Be pretty crazy. Starlight, the intergalactic game cat with the €5 says Sony is able to build a giant PS5 in Saudi Arabia and placing Kratos axes all over Europe, but they can't upload a PSVR2 trailer. I can't do this anymore. Don't worry, man. It's coming. It's coming.
That's where all the marketing budget went. No, I do think, I mean, I definitely could see something still happening, but it definitely seems like, over the past year, very little. I think we were talking about it in Discord. Like, there's only been 4 or 5 state of plays. They didn't even do a big Sony official showcase last year. So they certainly saved a lot of money on their marketing budget. So if we may not be completely happy about it, but if you look at the sales figures and stuff that were just released, good God, man, there's 31 million PS5s that have been sold. They made 8.8 billion in revenue. So look, I mean, we can complain about the lack of marketing and all this all we want. They're proving us wrong a little bit here. I mean, they're obviously not being super affected by it. So that being said, I do think we're going to get some cool stuff in the near future.
Well, AJ.
What's that, Brian?
So Sony's been very, very clear. I've heard this. I feel like we've heard this not even behind the scenes, but we've definitely heard it behind the scenes quite a bit. That Sony is focusing on marketing PlayStation 5s. That is the most important thing to them. And now, of course, their newest ad campaign is all about how PlayStation 5s are now easier to find than ever. And so this is going to sound really silly, but please mark these words down somewhere. Anyone keeping records. Sony is going to do that exact thing. They are going to keep marketing PlayStation 5s because they know it's the thing that's most important, even for PSVR2 to succeed, is getting the most PS5s out there in the marketplace. And so they are going to market PS5s until the absolute last minute. Mark my words. Until the absolute, AJ, listen closely.
Last minute.
Until the absolute last minute.
I don't need to write that down. I can remember that. What they need to do, what they need to do to market PSVR2 is go around and start putting headsets on iconic landscapes and stuff. Go put a PSVR2 headset on the Statue of Liberty. Now that's good marketing right there.
I'm so glad you didn't get that marketing job at Sony.
Have the headset on her, Lady Liberty, and then have the orb controllers in her hands.
I'm so glad.
That's good marketing.
So glad you didn't get the marketing job. Kava04 now, the game kitten with the 120 plantain says happy February.
February.
Yeah, so even Sony said happy February. I was like, all right, well, that's adorable, I suppose. I hope they're not hinging their marketing campaign on that, because it's hard to say. Thank you very much, Kava. And I believe we have one more tip, and then we get the show started. We get Crown Vic with the $5 tip. Says, my PSVR2 pre-order has been in since December 6th. I can't get a PlayStation 5 until the end of February. I'll just smell the headset until then. I hope it smells nice. Right. Nothing to be worse than a
probably smells great
smelly headset. Yeah. AJ,
Bryan,
we like to thank a lot of people around here. We thanked all the people who responded to Shuhei. We like to thank all the people who support us financially, like all the people who just tipped. But there's every Monday, now that we're starting the show 21 fucking minutes in, we like to thank a whole other group of cats, don't we?
That's right, Brian. I'm cracking up for the comments, man. We would like to thank those who support us in another way by changing their name to something Gamecat related, or something Gamecat adjacent, like you and something Gamecat adjacent like to say. And this week, we have 4 new Gamecats to welcome to the Gamecat Dojo.
Where is it? There it is.
Jesus. Starting with Serial Killer, the paid demo free upgrade.
Bing.
Gamecat.
Paid demo free upgrade. Is this just all the options that are available for PSVR 1 upgrades?
I have no idea the logic behind this.
I think that's the answer. Who's next?
We've also got Ixa, the Fovili rendered Gamecat.
You're Ixa.
I love it.
It's a fovally rendered Gamecat. I wish I was fovally rendered. That way, when you look me in the eyes, you can't read everything down here is kind of blurry.
Oh, fovally. What I say, fovili? I thought it was like a pun, like like fovil, like favil. We've also got we've also got T'Challa, the marvelous Gamecat.
T'Challa, ding! I don't know what T'Challa means, but it sounds like is this a Horizon thing? I don't know. It sounds like a Horizon thing.
Finally, last
no answer, no response. It's like I'm up here by myself. Okay,
you are. Did you guys hear something? Finally, last but certainly not least, we've got Souls NX, the Dark Souls loving Gamecat.
Bing. Yeah, when I saw this name, I was like, oh man, I wonder what game Souls NX, the Dark Souls loving Gamecat, have to look forward to in PSVR2. Like, what are there like Souls like games that have been announced yet? Because I can't think of any off the top of my head.
There's like a couple I've seen that are kind of in development that are like Souls inspired. I can't remember the name. If Awesome Tatum's here, he'll tell me the name. But there's like one that's by like an indie team that actually looks like, pretty good. But yeah, man, that is something. I mean, as a huge Bloodborne fan, like that is something I desperately need. I would take Bloodborne. I would take Elden Ring in VR any day. I mean, that'd be amazing. Hopefully one day.
And the chat is cluing us in that T'Challa is Black Panther. So, my bad. Oop. Here's my Black Panther. Anyway, guys.
Glad I wasn't listening.
That's all right. If anybody changes their name to Gamecat on YouTube or Google because you love us and most as much as we love you, put hashtag Gamecat in the comments below any one of our videos, and that way we can find you and give you a shout out on next week's show. Because that's how we do things. Hi. What's going on? Okay. I don't really have access to my mouse, but we're going to try to move along. AJ, one of Serial Killer's names was paid demo upgrade, whatever. Demo.
Free upgrade.
Free upgrade. There you go. I'm glad you're paying attention. We found out this week that Song in the Smoke will have a demo. Song in the Smoke Rekindled.
Yes.
So my big question, A, how important is this? And B, what do you think it'll consist of?
Don't download the demo. Go buy the game because it's awesome. It's amazing. It's a huge game. Probably not going to be that expensive. It's a free upgrade for those who got it before. So you can actually literally buy it for $30 right now. And that is a steal for this game because it's a 15, 20-hour game. I don't remember the question is, but buy this damn game because it is awesome. And Bryan and I recently had the pleasure of we got to talk to the Song in the Smoke devs while they were playing Song in the Smoke on PSVR2, and holy shit, man. I don't know about you, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, those guys are like the most enthusiastic VR developers I've ever met in my entire life. Like you can just tell they have a pure love of gaming. They have a pure love of the games that they're developing. Like they're not going to put out a game if they don't think it's fun because they are playing it nonstop. They are constantly being surprised by their own game and seeing how different systems work. And obviously, there's part of it that they're like, hey, Bryan and AJ are here. We need to like act enthusiastic, like drink your coffee. Let's do this thing. Right. But at the same time, it's like we've played this game. We played this game on PSVR1. We know that it's amazing. And all of the upgrades for PSVR2, I'm so excited for because it's going to be so much more detailed. The resolution is going to be great. All the adaptive triggers, the haptics in the headset when you walk under waterfalls, when you go underwater. I can only imagine how all of this works together and how it just adds to the realism. And of course, now you can jump, which is really, really nice. They told me that you can, it actually became a problem.
Jump freely.
Yeah, it became a problem because now you can jump to ledges that you couldn't access before. And so they had to they had to work with that. And they're like, well, this place you couldn't get up this far before, and so so instead of just like roping those places off or making them taller, they just made them accessible and worked with it.
and they've literally polished the hell out of like everything. But that's the thing. I think that's one of those main things that has me really excited. It's a little detail, but it's got me really excited. Is the way they said that they use the haptics in the headset, where like you jump into the water, like there's like big ass lakes and waterfalls in this game, and like if you jump into the water, like the headset, you know, kind of rumbles a little bit, or under the waterfall the headset rumbles and stuff. I can't wait to just do that. Just a little thing I'm really excited about. But yeah, it's gonna look gorgeous, man. They really, you know, it's not just up the resolution. They like increase the detail and textures and all sorts of stuff. But anyways, man, to answer your question,
Which was what?
the question I think was, what do I think of the demo? Great. And what do I, I think it's fine. I think this is a good game to demo for those that don't. I think this game works well with a demo, because then those who don't really know anything about it will get to try it out. It's a huge game. So like you can have a pretty lengthy demo with this and get into it. And I think they would do the whole, I would think the whole first like section, which is, you know, it's like half tutorial, half a little bit of like gameplay and stuff. Nothing too crazy, but just teaches you kind of some of the basics and gives you a nice look at some of the landscape. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it'd be the first section.
Here's what I hope. I hope that it's one of those time demos where it's like they give you 15 minutes, right? And you can just play as far as you possibly can. Like you download the full game, but you can play for 15 minutes. And then like, because we've seen these before, and if it's not unlike the Resident Evil ones, I guess I'm saying if you could play it over and over again, once you play for 15 minutes and then the demo ends, they're like, hey, thanks so much. Hopefully you'll buy our game. You know, I think there's a lot of people out there who would say, I wonder if I can get further if I play it again for 15 minutes now that I know what to do, right? And so then they go in again, they get a little bit further, and then they beat it, and you know, and then the demo ends, and they say, I wonder if I can play it again and get it even further, right? And so this creates a loop where people are kind of obsessed with seeing how much they can see in this 15 minutes that they're given. And then eventually they're just going to have to like take the plunge and say, this game is fucking amazing. I need to buy this. I think that would work really well for this game.
Chris Forthenberry says time demos suck. And I kind of agree.
Well, time is he talking about time demos like the ones that you get to play once and then it's over? Because those are stupid.
No, I think the ones with like a limited amount of time to play them.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember Ace Combat would give you like Ace Combat 7 gave you like literally 5 minutes. And I mean, I don't know, man. The way I see it is the majority of people. I think gaming and gaming culture has changed a lot. I think demo disc and stuff way back in the day made a lot more sense because we had such limited access to information like this, where, you know, we would find out about games and stuff from demos. We would learn about them. You know, now with the internet and the age of the internet, like we can find out all the info we need to know from the internet pretty much, and from so many different resources. So, I don't think, and I think that has had the biggest impact on demos. I don't think they have an impact like they used to. But that being said, like maybe it'll help convince one or two people to do it.
Yeah,
I think most people when they're dead set on a game, they're just gonna get it. I mean, half the games that I know, I was like really excited to play the demo for. Like, I was gonna get those games anyways, and I was like, "Ooh, I get to play a demo of it first." And I think it applies more in that way, almost.
Yeah, well, I think they've got so much competition. And by the way, Twitcher in the chat clarifies it is the opening section, not a time demo. Progress in the demo does not carry over into the game. Thank you, Twitcher, for ruining all my fun. But yeah, I think launch is going to be so crowded, and that people are going to have so much to buy. Like the obvious titles, right? Gran Turismo, Resident Evil 7, Call of the Mountain, and then, you know, who knows, fucking Pavlov's probably on everybody's list as well. Like, you're going to spend so much money on launch that, like, after a really expensive day, you might want to settle down and play a couple demos and see what else you're going to eventually buy. And I think this is a way to help Song in the Smoke stand out a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's great. I'm really happy there is a demo.
Yeah. So Mad Max Gaming with the $5 tip says, conspiracy theory, releases Sony released the headset during this time frame to coincide with tax returns so more people afford it. Thoughts? P.S. I need a cheap wheel. I don't know anything about wheels other than the two that kept going back and forth. The Thrustmaster, was it T150 and then the Logitech G29.
If the G29 is still on sale, that's your best deal right now.
Yeah.
That's $267. What's your thought on Mad Max's Witness conspiracy theory?
I don't think it has anything to do with. I think this is a necessity by Sony. I think they realized PlayStation they were going to need more time to sell PlayStation 5s. The fact that we haven't seen PSVR2 marketing absolutely fucking proves that they are laser focused on PS5s and that they are just like, man, I guarantee you that if so many developers weren't ready with launch titles, that Sony would be more than happy to delay this thing for another 6 months in order to sell more PlayStation 5s. Like, keep the focus on the console. But because of everything that's happened in the last 2 years, like, you know, eventually you just got to shit or get off the pot. And I think them putting it out this month this is the worst analogy ever. It's them shitting. But we're really happy about it. We turned on the fan. We got fragrance sprays. Like, we're ready, man. Take the biggest shit of your life. We'll clean up the mess. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you 100% that the reason it's around this time, I mean, the tax return season is a nice little benefit for a lot of people. You know, it is good timing if you're not going to do have a holiday launch. I think the second best thing you could probably do is tax return time. It was pushed to Q1 2023 to give them time to produce more headsets. That comes from sources of mine. So that's directly from Sony. And another reason why we're probably blacklisted. But that's the truth. You know, they're not going to send us a headset anyway. Fuck it. Yeah. Sony pushed back the thing because they wanted to produce more headsets, which is why when those stories about them cutting all the bogus bullshit that came out recently about them cutting production due to low pre-orders, blah, blah, blah. It was all horseshit because they literally pushed it back so that they could produce more. So, boom, the more you know.
Yeah, it's funny talking to a lot of developers. I keep hearing the same story. I sort of heard it through the grapevine that PSVR2 headsets were hard to find, and like from Sony, like from people trying to get their games developed, they were getting hard to find. And then I just suddenly kept hearing it one after another, that there are so many people making PSVR2 games and so many bigger studios making PSVR2 games that there's just not enough to go around. Sony's answer at this point is buy a headset at launch in order to have more in your office. Vince in the chat says, blacklisted? What? That's
probably
likely.
I mean, I don't know any other reason why they would have ignored us. We literally know like everybody, but everybody's like, you know, we work with everybody except for Sony directly. So
yeah, I mean, I used to work with Sony directly. And they used to send me review keys, and they used to send me, you know, they used to at least respond to my emails, and they have not done that in quite a while. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think maybe we've been a little bit too honest, a little bit too passionate sometimes.
Maybe for them.
Well, that's what I mean. And I think when it comes to Sony, I've heard of other outlets that you say one bad thing and you're off their list forever. So whatever. Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's really too bad. You know, here it is, the thing that I love most in my life, right? The thing I'm most excited for. And they're like, we don't really give a fuck what you're doing over there. I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. Welcome to my whole world. Grizzly Bear King with a $10 tip says, I came here looking for the best developers are flocking to PlayStation VR2 and will Gran Turismo sell headsets PSVR podcast of YouTube. And that's exactly what I found. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Grizzly Bear King. We love you so much.
What up, Grizzly?
We also got Paul Cunningham with a $3 tip. Says, Song in the Smoke needs a demo Sue to the launch lineup. Demo Sue to the launch lineup. I wonder what that means. Interesting. Sorry, Paul. Maybe I'm just being dumb right now. But this actually does bring us to this is something that we want to talk about on Friday's show. Miles and I were going to talk about this, but I wasn't able to make the show on Friday. My apologies. I do hope you accept my profusely apologizing words. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just trying to look up Gran Turismo videos to play while we're doing this. AJ, last week was amazing because so many different developers, or I'm sorry, so many different outlets went hands-on with PSVR2 and Gran Turismo. Some real big Gran Turismo names out there. IGN, kind of funny. Snowbike Mike over there. They all went hands-on with Gran Turismo in PSVR2. Sounds like they were all using a DualSense controller. Let's get that out of the way right away. And the response was fucking incredible.
Yeah. This game is a really, really big deal. This is an example of exactly the kind of support we want to see. Like you said, we'll let's rip this Band-Aid off real quick. Let's get this out of the way because this is the one thing I was like, and I'm not sure how most people feel about it. This did actually officially confirm that there's no DualSense support, that they're using the DualShock or they're using a wheel. So
wait. What? Oh, there's no Sense controller support.
DualSense. There's no
two hands.
The Sense controllers.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, that came out really strange.
I said DualShock. But yeah, that was a bit of a surprise to me. But thinking about it, it's like, okay, it makes sense. I don't know how true this is, but I've heard they spend up to like 6 months or like 8 months just making one vehicle, and for that game that they can. And I could imagine having to do the Sense controllers and like having to grip the in-game steering wheel. People don't end up usually being pretty satisfied with that, with the steering wheel. And it's probably a lot of work and time. It's still something I want to advocate for. I still want to be like, hey, we still want orb support. We got to have orb support for this game. I want to be able to grab the steering wheel in the game. But yeah, I don't know how most people felt about that, but I was like, I was a little bit like surprised actually.
I didn't care in the slightest. Like,
yeah.
You're going to be able to sit there and play it with your DualSense. You're going to be able to sit there and play it with your racing rig. The fact that you can't sit there with your hands on the wheel specifically, to me, I'm just like, I'm totally fine with that. Like, I'm absolutely fine with that. And I mean, as somebody who has a racing rig now, right, would I feel different if I didn't have the racing rig? I don't think so, because again, I just feel like this is the type of game that's like all about precision. And I don't really know how that would translate. It might translate great, don't get me wrong. I would definitely play other driving games that use this mechanic, but that was never my favorite way to play.
Yeah, well, hopefully everybody that could picked up a wheel. It sounds like everybody did, because that is, let me tell you, man. So from these first previews, man, the first thing that caught my attention, of course, was how freaking good it looks. Yeah. Like, oh my God. And they talked about it a little bit. Pretty much everybody, there was a general consensus that there really wasn't much visual compromise here. Like they didn't have to, there's some great sources here, like from GT Planet, who are just like huge Gran Turismo enthusiasts. They talked to, I think they actually talked to Kazunori Yamauchi themselves. And, he said, actually, quote, in that respect, there hasn't been anything done to cut anything down in a major way. We obviously have a huge focus on frame rate and resolution when we make Gran Turismo. And I think it was just a matter of really good timing, because the power of the PS5 and the specs of the PSVR2 really worked well together.
Yeah. It's funny too, because I've listened to, I've heard some comments, I've seen some comments from people saying, "Oh, is it just me, or does it not look quite as good in VR?" So here's the thing: there's going to be, it's going to be really tough to make reviews for PSVR2 games. It's going to be really tough to kind of demonstrate to people who don't have the headset on their head just how good these things look, because when you combine foveated rendering with eye tracking, you can actually see in the Gran Turismo VR videos where people are looking, because you'll see on the edges of the screen that things are pixelated. Things don't have anti-aliasing. Like, it's very, very clear where somebody's looking, because there's like a big chunk of the screen that's super sharp, and the rest of it kind of like fades out into like, the PS2 era. It's actually, I will say, it looks shockingly good. for the fact that it's
Looks
using that much
incredible.
foveated rendering. But on top of it, it's just like keep that in mind when you're watching any footage of PSVR2 games, because most of them are using eye tracking, and so they're not going to look quite as good on the screen as they will when you put the headset on, because the screen's not using eye tracking. The screen has no idea where you're looking. The PSVR2 does, and that's how it's going to work.
Yeah, the other thing, so this was probably one of the biggest surprises of this whole new news that came out on this. And this was there was two places that talked about this. First, it was IGN, Ryan McCaffrey over there. He did you know, Brian, that Ryan McCaffrey had a DeLorean?
I mean, if his Twitter name wasn't DMC Ryan, I would still know, because he talks about it all the time. Like, and I'm happy for him. He's a car guy, and like he got to buy, he got to own his dream car for like, I don't know, what, a decade or something.
I mean, to be fair, I'm only teasing because I actually almost bought a DeLorean once.
This sounds like a Litterbox episode.
But anyways, I'm just kidding. The thing that he talked about was that he mentioned that the frames per second, this not only does this game look as stunning as it is, and they've already confirmed it's the full game, all tracks, all vehicles, all the weather effects, everything, but they're going to be running at 120 frames per second. Now, GT Planet has clarified a little and said that GT7 runs at a reprojected 120 frames per second on the PSVR 2, but that's still super impressive and like, I mean, almost mind blowing that to think of the generational leap where, the compromises that the PS4 and PSVR had to make just to get it to run on a base PS4. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to be running first party, AAA titles at 120 frames per second. Like, that's nuts, man. That is nuts.
Yeah, agreed. I think it looks incredible. Every single person who went hands-on with it talked about how great the frame rate was, how buttery smooth it was. So these aren't just numbers that they're spewing out there. This is how it actually feels. And I think that's really important to hear. Were you surprised, AJ, when it came to like Ryan McCaffrey at IGN, who IGN is notoriously, not that big on VR? I know it's a collection of personalities. They say that all the time. It's like, but like their collection of personalities, none of them seem big on VR. And then when you had Snowbike Mike from Kind of Funny, who, again, Kind of Funny, not that big on VR. Snowbike Mike came back extremely impressed. Like, these guys had almost nothing bad to say. It was shocking.
No, I'm not surprised because I've believed that this headset was going to be pretty amazing. And even before it was announced, I think we all dreamed of them making a PSVR 2 because we know how amazing it would be. Now, to be fair, let me be honest here, is like I felt kind of that way about PSVR 1, even with all the dated hardware and everything. It was 50. It was a lot of, I thought it was amazing, but also the potential that this has as it evolves is going to be something just next level. And so it doesn't surprise me after we've gotten all the specs, after seeing all the games that are being released and everything, it doesn't really surprise me at all that people are kind of changing their tune once they actually play it, because that's what it's all about. When you get to experience it, when you get to feel it, feel a new reel, that's when you really understand like the potential or just what's at hand here.
AJ, one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you, since I have you here today, how convenient, is whether or not Gran Turismo will sell headsets. And I know that we talked about it briefly at the beginning of the show, but the reason I'm bringing it up here is because Traxion.gg actually has an article here that I'm going to bring up on the screen.
What up, Ace Diaz?
And we got a ton of tips to read, guys, so hang with us, okay? The article reads, Gran Turismo 7 has helped the series surpass 90 million in sales. Now, keep in mind, guys, of course, that Gran Turismo has been a series that's been long running. It's been prevalent ever since.
It's been the highest selling first party IP since the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, and so here we are, right? And we have the full game minus split screen multiplayer. We got to keep saying that, right? Every single, it's the full game except for split screen.
Minus split screen.
Just,
Nobody cares, but
nobody cares.
you just, yeah.
Right. It's and I mean, do you think that like this is going to do something that Gran Turismo Sport couldn't? Like, do you think the marketing here, where they're saying it's the full game, is going to convince more people to buy a PSVR2 than Gran Turismo Sport convinced to buy PSVR 1? Do you think they're doing everything right this time in terms of that? Like, is it enough? Do you think, was there a bad message out there that Gran Turismo Sport was more of an experience, didn't have the full game? Like, is Sony in a better place this time around? Are these people going to buy headsets because of Gran Turismo 7 where they didn't because of Sport? It's a lot of questions. Yeah, I mean, pick one.
But I will pick one. Hell yes, this is going to sell headsets. This is probably selling more headsets than any other game right now because Gran Turismo 7's been out for a year. It has already had amazing sales on the flat version. This is the kind of thing that is going to sell PSVR 2 to a lot of people. First party, AAA quality games that are huge and no compromises. This is absolutely what is needed to sell PSVR 2 headsets. And yes, look at the chat. Look at all the people in the chat that like, I bought PSVR 2 for this. Yeah. I bought PSVR 2 for this. You are going to see a lot of that, and it's only going to spread like wildfire once more and more people play it and experience it. Yes, absolutely. When you say full game and not a little limited mode, that is the big difference here. People would take some compromises back in the day, but GT Sport took out way too many of the features that made it, the game that it is. And while it was still great, it's not going to sell headsets like a full game will.
Right. Jordan F in the chat actually has a pretty good point. He says, I think the reviews of Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon will draw some interest for sure. It's funny. So many people are buying wheels right now, some are buying rigs, buying Gran Turismo 7 because it's on sale currently. And so, but again, there hasn't been that much marketing, right? Can you imagine what happens when Sony like actually starts talking about this stuff in like bigger video format, giving us like more in-depth looks at this game themselves? Because again, even the footage that these YouTubers and Gran Turismo fanatics were allowed to use, the B-roll was like very limited. There's like this Indy car and like something else, and it was like, well, why aren't you giving us more B-roll? Why aren't you giving us more footage from the PSVR 2 version, right? And so we haven't had a really great look at this thing yet. We have had like a minute maybe of B-roll, but it's been very, very limited. And so, and so once the headset comes out, I think there's going to be a huge response from YouTubers, from VR gamers, from the 90 million. I was gonna say 90. There's obviously not 90 million people playing Gran Turismo right now, but all the people who are playing Gran Turismo 7 who are upgrading their PSVR 2, there's going to be a huge community out there that's going to get excited once they hear how amazing this looks. So I think this was a very smart move. And just for comparison's sake, I want to put this out there, because in my head I was like 90 million. That sounds like a lot, but again, for a game that's been around since the PS1, let's put it in perspective. Resident Evil. Right. Resident Evil is Capcom's best-selling franchise. I'm just reading this from Google, and it's got 135 million copies sold worldwide. Now, so it's got 45 million more in sales, but it's also got way more titles. It's also been on way more platforms. It's been multi-platform almost since the beginning, right? And so it's had like 2 to 3 times the opportunity to sell 2 to 3 times as many copies, and it hasn't, right? So this really does say like PlayStation fans fucking love Gran Turismo, and this is going to be huge for the headset.
Yeah, this is absolutely huge. And the series itself has been a little rocky here and there. Not every single one has been this like revolutionary, blow you away. Actually, what I love about this article is they talk about they've retained a lot of the core developers that have been making this game over the year. So it stays, it stays pretty true to itself the way that this one designed. This game though, man, this game, you and I have played this game. A lot of us have been playing this game kind of to get our feet wet a little bit, and get multiplayer unlocked. And I mean, it is fantastic. It feels like a long time since I've been like really into a good racer. And yeah, it's also had lots of stiff competition over the years and stuff. Sim racers are maybe not for everybody, but yeah, this is absolutely huge. This is one of the potential many ways that people are going to go out and buy a VR headset for this. People are buying $700 racing rigs for this. Yes, they'll buy a headset for this. Like, they're buying the headset, they're buying the racing rig, all this stuff. So, for the ultra enthusiast, but and this is going to be great for other developers too. I mean, this is why we've preached for so long that AAA games are important, because they sell, and then people kind of discover the rest of what's going on with VR. And a lot of developers are going to benefit from these kinds of moves.
Let's take care of some of these tips. We're going to start off with Dreamcastic Channel with a $2 tip. Says, pick just one, Spiderman VR or Wolverine VR. AJ, I'm going to go first. Ooh. As cool as it would be to have adamantium claws as sense controllers, I'm going to say Spider-Man, because that's what I've been wanting Sony to do ever since all of those Spider-Man experiences. So I really want a full-fledged Spider-Man game where you can web sling through the city, and people say that's a vomit fest. I'm like, make me fucking vomit. I can take it.
Well, then I'll play devil's advocate and say Wolverine, baby. You get both answers here, because, man, I mean, bringing out the claws, pressing the grip buttons, and the claws come out, or the triggers, and the adaptive triggers and the claws come out, and then, dude, if it's got like great physics and shit, and you get to like slice things up, imagine like fully destructible environments where you get to slice things up and slice through wood, slice through walls,
sure.
slice through people. Fortnite. All these things, man, that would be amazing. The correct answer is definitely both here, though, because I absolutely want both in VR.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say Berserker Claw.
Okay. Michael DeSoto with the $5.01 says, hey guys, my PSVR2 pre-ordered, but I can't get rid of my PSVR1 unless Skyrim is ported. Is there any chance? I'm an obsessed Dragonborn. It would be so cool. Michael, this is something we've talked about quite a bit on the show. Obviously, if another port of Skyrim it was in the works, it very well could have been something that Sony and Bethesda had a deal regarding years ago, when they were first starting to contact developers for important PSVR2 games. I'm sure even Sony knew that Skyrim would be just as important, 6 years from then as it was when it came out. So I think there's a possibility. Also, I don't think that Xbox looks at PlayStation VR as some kind of competition. Like Sega used to make games for the Game Boy. Was that right? Do I have my facts backwards? Before they made the Game Gear. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But it could be a thing.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. It would. The way that it would have to happen is that if there was a contract put in place before the acquisition, I don't know if they have some kind of 10-year plan or something. This would probably be if they did, it would be the last time. Probably, you never know. But I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for it.
We got GB. Oops, that's not what I want to do. GB says with $5 tip says, we will have to charge the Sense controllers. So playing Gran Turismo 7 or Moss in the meantime. Oh, so play Gran Turismo 7 or Moss in the meantime while it's charging. He makes an excellent point. Says, loving the show. Did you see that big screen is coming to PSVR 2? I haven't seen that. I'd like to do some research on that, because big screen was supposed to come to PSVR 1.
I think they said, and that's the thing, is like, I think they said, yes, we are planning to bring it to PSVR 2. And it's like, great. You've been saying you were going to bring it to PSVR 1 for like 4 years and never did. So forgive my skeptical brain a little bit, but it's like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, for sure. But like really hoping that that's a thing. I think a lot of developers will be bringing their stuff to PSVR 2. So it's very likely. I think way more likely than last gen. I think a lot of developers last gen said, "Oh, we'd love to do it," and then they was like, "This is gonna be fucking hard. We can't do this."
Yeah. Obviously, you're not limited to the hardware this time, but you are limited to maybe licensing, and things. It depends on what kind of app integration they can do, and it's more. I think it's more of a legal licensing thing than it is a, just getting it to work.
Yeah. Let's get caught up on these. We got Matt with the 7 Canadian says the only negative comment I've heard so far has been the quote almost outdated lenses. The reviewer was expecting pancake lenses. Is it a valid argument? I have not heard this from anybody. The people that I trust are like Ian Higton from Eurogamer and various other sources, and I have not heard from anybody that the lenses are anything of an issue. So I'm not concerned.
What does pancake lenses mean?
It's like different.
Well, we know they're Fresnel. We know they're Fresnel lenses, but we also know that they have a special design. We saw like the patent, I think, from back in the day with like the little ridges where, it doesn't have like the God rays and stuff that people were worried about. It's, I think it's a sexy piece of hardware. It'll be fine.
Yeah, the thing is we've heard nothing but amazing things, and so at this point, I have zero concerns, and then I will have my own opinions once I put it on my face. Like that's where I'm at right now. It's like no one's going to surprise me with any crazy information. I'm going to be like, oh my god, I'm fucking worried, because we've heard from so many people nothing but positive things. And so if like there's like an outlier here or there, it's like, oh, ghosting, oh, lenses, oh, it's like that. Those are the outliers. Those are people who are sensitive to very specific things that the rest of us are not. And so that's just kind of what we have to keep in mind as we hear people's impressions. When 90% of the people are saying nothing but great things, and then like 10% are like, well, there's this, or well, there's that. We'll see how many people actually are affected by the this and that. Miasma. I have no fucking idea how to pronounce your name. Gesundheit. With the 10 quid says, when you wake up after drinking way too much and read an email saying you've spent 600 quid on PSVR2, if not for Gran Turismo 7, I might have canceled it. I feel your pain. Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm not a sim racer fan. I would much prefer to have spent $700 on a rig for an arcade racer. But here we are. Like I'm for the first time in my life really excited to dive into a sim racer. I did it on PS2 and I think on PSP as well. But I'm ready. I'm ready.
Well, that's the great thing is I'm expecting there's going to be more than one racer. I mean, you can probably get just about all of your money's worth out of Gran Turismo alone, with all the grinding, all the unlocks, all the multiplayer, all the different modes. But there's going to be more racers in the future as well. So it'll be nice. Maybe we'll see what happens.
Hey AJ, always fun when we wake up to the PlayStation blog updating, and especially when it has something to do with PSVR2. That has been Sony's main way of communicating to us that there's PlayStation VR2 news. And today it updated with the PlayStation VR2 Ultimate FAQ. It's sort of, here, let me get this thing up.
The ultimate fuck.
But I mean, it kind of feels like the ultimate fuck you, right? It's like 16 days from launch, and they're like, here's an FAQ. It's like, this is the ultimate fuck you. No, don't get me wrong. It's really good because a lot of people needed answers to lots of different questions, and at least now it's all in one place for them to easily discover. So
they answered a lot of questions here. Yeah, this is something you want. I think this is nice. There's a lot of stuff in this. It's like back in the day when we used to have manuals for games. Remember, like the whole manual you could go through.
Mm-hmm. I do remember, because AJ, don't forget, I'm old.
And you have like 50,000 games behind you with those manuals in them. But yeah, man, they got a whole bunch of stuff here. Big table of contents. They got the overview with it. I haven't like sat there and read each and every single little thing because most of it we already know. But there were a couple actually new things in here. Did you notice anything new?
No, because I did not pay attention. I skimmed it, man. I skimmed it. The only thing I really noticed that was new, or at least we finally have hard facts on, is the length of the cable. I know that prior to this, the word that got out, and it might have again been from Ian Higton. I think he had asked the Sony PR person that he played with, how long is the cable? And they said about 5.5 meters. And then we read through this, and it says 4.5 meters, which I do think is sort of a big deal.
I think Ian said 4.5. I mean, he was like exact with it.
Yeah.
He probably asked them while he was there, and so he knew exactly how long it was.
Maybe that was on me then, because I feel like I've been saying 5.5 because of what I thought he said. So maybe that's on me. I'd have to go back and fact check the whole thing. But now that it's very, very clear, 4.5 meters, I'm curious to know if that affects anybody's setup. Anybody who really wanted to like do the pulley system. Oh, and sorry about that. Tornado, get off my keyboard. Tornado, get off my keyboard. Tornado, get off the keyboard. She's not moving, guys. We can't read the article. I apologize. So anybody who has is going to use a very elaborate pulley system and be far away from their console, I wonder if that extra meter will affect anybody. But Dan Kiefer says, let Tornado work. Stop eating that. Okay. So what did you find in here, AJ? Maybe I can scroll up once Tornado gets off the keyboard.
All right. Well, I think there was a couple things here. They did talk about the PSVR2 will feature activity cards, similar to the thing. I don't really care. Activity cards are not something I've used once, maybe even. I mean, I don't use like any of that stuff. They did mention about, physical games. A lot of people have been asking about them. They said everything is going to be available at digital at launch, but eventually games will start to get physical versions as well. However, the big thing that I really, really love to see here was that they say how many games are in development for PSVR2. And they said they gave us an official ballpark or whatever. They say there are currently more than 100 titles in development for PSVR2.
You think they knew that before I made my video?
They're like taking notes,
right?
And
they're like, wow, there really are 100 people making games for this thing.
Yeah, I mean that's great, man. I mean, they made I remember with PSVR 1, they made a promise that there was going to be, their goal with PSVR 1 was to have at least 200 games. Like that was the promise they made to us, and a lot of people were skeptical about like even hitting that number. And yeah, they ended up making over 500 games for PSVR due to, I guess it's kind of moderate success. And I love that all the things they've done to make this headset and everything a lot easier to develop for. And now we're kind of seeing the benefits of that because of just how many games are in development, how many developers are making stuff. And yeah, go watch Bryan's video to see all the games in development.
And those are just the announced ones. What I love to see so much right now is that like we really haven't seen the big boys, right? Like Sony's going to want to reveal those on their stage, and I'm sure there'll be a few more announcements before launch. I'm sure there'll be once we get 3, 6, 8 months down the line, there's going to be way more announcements. Sony hasn't talked about hybrid games. They've not explained what that even means. We're the ones that have been telling you guys about that for the better part of a year and a half now, I think, right? It's been August 2021, was it? Jesus Christ, it feels like forever ago during that dev summit. And so the deal is that these are the announced games, and by announced we mean the people generally who have made Quest games or PC VR games, and now we're saying we're definitely bringing this thing to PSVR 2 because it's clear that this is where a good chunk of the market is heading, right? Because people are waiting for next gen VR games, and this is going to be the easiest, most affordable place to do that. And we're going to see that. We're going to see first-party Sony games. We're going to see third-party hybrid games. We're going to see third-party, PSVR2 exclusives. We're going to see third-party cross-platform games. It's going to start flooding in. And if PSVR2 somehow fails, AJ, it's not going to be due to lack of content. That's for sure.
No, yeah, no, it's man, there's all this hype for Gran Turismo 7, for Resident Evil Village, for, Horizon Call of the Mountain. Let me just say, man, to be honest with you, like, I actually brought this up as a possible subject for the show today, when I texted you earlier. And, like, to be honest with you, man, there's a lot of these, like, indie games and smaller games and stuff I am, like, really excited about as well. Of course, like, I can't wait to jump into those big games first, but I'm actually really excited to jump into some of the smaller games, some of the indie games some of them I've played before and I know they're great. Like Demio, I've played on the Quest, and like, dude, I love that game. Ultra Wings 2, Runner VR, like, I really like a lot of these games. So, yeah, there's a massive library. There's going to be some crap in there too, and some junk and stuff that's, stuff that may be good or stuff that I just don't care about.
Sure.
But, man, it's finally starting to hit me now that the hype levels of these these huge announcements have kind of starting to wear off a little bit. My mind is already starting to go towards gaining interest in some of these smaller games. And I can't wait. Yeah, somebody brings up Kayak VR. Kayak VR, by the way, is now available for pre-order. And I think that was on your PSVR this week, but yeah, Kayak VR is available for pre-order now. And dude, people were jumping on it, man. I tweeted about it and people were like, pre-ordered, hashtag blame AJ, hashtag blame AJ. It's not my fault. Okay. Don't shoot the messenger. But yeah, I mean, Kayak VR, even, most people seem to know it's a small game, but because of the way it looks, because the concept is easily digestible and really it fits for just about anybody. There's just so many good games at launch, and that's what has me so excited about these 100 games is, they're maybe not all going to be winners, but there's going to be a lot of good ones in there.
You know what a fun game has been, AJ, lately?
What's that?
Since I'm at my computer pretty much 24/7 these days, just editing PSVR2 videos. Every so often I'll go over to the PlayStation store and just search for a random PSVR2 game. Because if you go to the PSVR2 tab, there's the same games that have kind of been floating around, and every so often they'll add one to the mix. But you'll be like, where's the rest of them? Like, there's so many games have been announced. Where are they all? And all you have to do is just type a random PSVR2 game into the search bar. Try like Afterlife VR. and it's there somewhere, right? Available to be wishlisted. Yeah. And so like there's a lot more PSVR2 games on the store than they're showing. A lot more. So it's a fun little game if you have some time.
Well, that's how we found Kayak originally. Kayak VR, it was just kind of discovered, like stumbled upon it. And there's a lot of them hiding in there, but nothing gets me more as excited as when it's like ready and it's actually like you can pre-order it, and they've got some video trailers and stuff, and it's nice, man. It's 16 days away. We're so close. Things are happening, and it feels good.
I want to talk a little bit more about this, but I do see Taekwon Roshan. I probably pronounced your name wrong in the chat, asking if it's worth buying a PSVR 2 if you don't already have a PS5 and would need to buy it. This is an interesting question, right? Because there's so many different ways to look at this. When people go, "Oh my God, it's over $1,000 to buy PSVR 2," like, but yeah, you also have one of the greatest consoles that is going to last you for the next 6 years, so you can play awesome first-party and third-party flat-screen games as well. For me, though, like, I bought my PlayStation 5 for PSVR 2. I've been very, very clear that, like, flat screen games are still interesting to me, but I'm losing interest in them rapidly, right? VR is where I want to play my games. So I bought my PlayStation 5 for PlayStation VR 2, and I was really hoping that PSVR 2 was going to come out fucking a long time ago. So, yeah you're essentially asking me, Bryan, did you buy your PlayStation 5 for PSVR2? And the answer is yes, right? Of course you should. It's cheap. It's cheaper than buying a headset in a VR capable PC. It's and you're going to get some amazing first party games and games. Of course, dude, you don't even know the number of games that exist because of Sony themselves. Sony is so helpful behind the scenes. They don't even take credit for like getting games like Song in the Smoke made and then having Song in the Smoke rekindled exist. Like that's all Sony, right? And so you're not going to find Rekindled on PC. You're not going to find a proper version of Village VR on PC. You're not going to find Call of the Mountain on PC. Like, yeah, man, like this is where next gen VR is. And so for me, yes, as long as you can afford it and it's not going to put you out on the street. And then if you do end up on the street, at least you won't really realize it because you'll be in fucking VR. As long as it's not putting you on the street, yeah, man, I fucking absolutely recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Because also you're going to have that. You're going to be using it for 5 to 7 years, most likely. And on top of this, there is a nice way that you can save a little bit, and that is the PSN sales. I mean, oh my God, you can get Resident Evil Village for $20 right now. You get like Gran Turismo 7 for like $30 or something. And then like there's all these free upgrades from these games from like, you know, that's the beauty of it. Julia just pre-ordered her PSVR2 recently. She has bought one game. She did actually buy Kayak VR, pre-ordered that. But even without that, I mean, she has No Man's Sky. She has already a bunch of free games. She has Zenith, a bunch of things. So, yeah, it's absolutely going to be worth it. I mean, this is the time, if any. You don't want to jump in by the time, you know, you don't want to jump in and we're moving on to PSVR 3 or PS6.
Yep.
You know, this is the time to do this, man. And you know, and grab, if you have to, grab games while they come out on sale. But yeah, absolutely 110% join us.
Yeah, it's so clear that it's going to be more and more and more free upgrades from your PSVR 1 games. You know, AJ mentioned Zenith, you know, Pistol Whip, there's a Job Sim and Vacation Sim after the fall. So there's going to be a ton of games to play. Like, even if you don't want to spend any money at launch, if you probably already have a bunch of PSVR 1 games sitting around that, like, you know, could probably use a little bit more love. And so you're going to have those right off the bat. So, I don't know, man. Do what's right for you.
Yeah.
AJ, one of the things I really liked about this, about, you know, our topic today is that developers seem to also be coming out talking about how much they love PSVR2, how much they want to support PSVR2. And I think a great example of that was, let me see, do I have it here? Yes. Danny Unger from Cloudhead Games. So obviously Cloudhead Games makes Pistol Whip, and one of his tweets was in a response to an upload article that basically rehashes a blog post. Any chance I can get to throw shade at Upload, they fucking hate me over there. I'm sure they do. But no, they're I'm sure they're doing fine. I just have no idea what they're doing. He said porting to PSVR2 wasn't just porting. That was air quotes in here. It was building for true next-gen VR features. Sony has been a great partner and is truly leaning into VR as its own medium, which is fantastic for our industry. We can't wait for launch, and we're honored to be there. Dude, again, here's another developer, talking about how great PSVR 2 is, talking about how next-gen it is, and then throwing in there how helpful Sony's been, right? So for all the people out there who think that Sony is, you know, abandoning VR, that their heart's not really in this, that they're just pushing this thing out to die, that's not the case, man. If you talk to anybody behind the scenes, Sony is fucking out there, and they are trying to make VR a thing, make it to kind of pull it into the mainstream. Have some faith, guys, and be patient, because I think we're going to see a lot more of that soon.
Yeah. There was another thing, actually. I mean, from the there was some developers. Yeah, it's been really nice hearing people talk about it, and obviously, you know, the hardware is really nice, and enables, you know, not the hardware enables developers to do a lot of new things. I don't know who shared this with us. It was somebody talking about somebody shared this with us. Well, thank you for sharing it with us. Bryan picked these up, but it was, I think, the Pavlov developers were talking about some of the things. I mean, this is the second developer now that's come out and said, says, Dave, how cool are the haptic feedback controllers? PSVR2, have you been able to make use of the new hardware? And he says, this is like quoting, and he says, it's the pinnacle of VR specifically for shooters. We have set up adaptive triggers so each weapon has different resistance and coil. So you have more room for rendering. It says it's probably 10% above PCVR just because it's console and rendering is more efficient. I will say, man, that is one of the things I love about console gaming is like you get it, you plug it in, and you play it. Yep. That's it. And man, that's a nice quality of life feature for sure.
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out. Yeah, definitely. Chris Hackwood shared this with me. Flat2 VR shared this with me. I got this from at least 3 different people. I think the one I'm showing on the screen is from Chris Hackwood. And so thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Love the fact that everybody is out there in the second NEV.
Joey VR. Shout out to you, Joey VR.
Yeah, Joey VR. Always Joey VR. And so I just want to say thank you to all the cats out there who are constantly sending us this kind of stuff because it's easy to miss, right? I'm part of I don't know how many Discords. And so I'm not over there on the Bankrupt Games Discord to read this kind of stuff. But this is really, really good news. This is really good stuff to hear. And then, dude, on top of this, games Atomic Heart, the Atomic Heart Mundfish, they're talking about how they'd like to bring their game to VR, once Atomic Heart is out. And they're certainly not talking about standalone VR. That Atomic Heart is visually very impressive, right? And I don't know how much you'd have to dumb that thing down in order to make it work on a standalone headset. Would it be great if they were able to? Sure. But I think the thing's going to look console quality on PlayStation VR2. I feel like when console flat screen developers are talking about bringing their game to VR, at this point they're basically saying probably PC VR, but definitely PlayStation VR2. Because again, Sony's out there talking to these developers saying, look how easy it is.
Yeah. A lot of people complain about the exclusives or whatever, and it's well, these wouldn't have happened in the first place if Sony wasn't making those, right, working with the developers and stuff. So they're you can't really blame them, but yeah, it's whatever it is. But it's really, really exciting. I love that we finally have some decent hardware that's going to last a couple years and developers can make stuff for it. And I'm expecting this is the one that's when you mentioned stuff like Atomic Heart, which looks fantastic, by the way. Yeah. It also looks like a really great for VR fit for VR. And that's, I think, one of the most exciting unknowns is that we're going to get a lot of new, console IPs, fresh IPs coming out in the next few years. And it's going to be really interesting to see which ones actually do end up getting VR support. And yeah, with these Atomic Heart devs, they've already expressed interest. They've basically said that, look, we need to get our game out first. And I could see this being a thing. I could see this being a thing. Maybe a couple years later, we start seeing games launch simultaneously with the non-VR and the VR option as well. That's what we really want to see. But I'll take what I can get. And if devs have to get their game out first and just, get it working and get something out there and then add VR later, I'm totally cool with that. Yeah. I will be patient.
We got a couple more tips to take care of. We got gaming with the one and only. I'm so glad I sounded that out.
The one and only.
Oh, is that you? Oh no, that's Michelle, the one and only, right?
Yes.
From Viewer Takeover.
Viewer Takeover. Where's my guitar?
Gaming with the one and only. With $2 tip says, "Where's the PSVR2 accessories? Cases, stands, skins, etc." Well, there are stands and there are charging stations for the Sense controllers, and some of them look kind of cool, to be honest with you. But again, it's so hard for even developers to get their hands on PSVR2s that these accessory manufacturers, like, they might not be able to even have their hands on it yet in order to, in order to have the dimensions that they need to build these things. But I do think that those things are going to flood in at some point.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a big advantage to having like the white headset, just a plain white headset, is that kind of makes like an empty canvas for you to be able to do whatever you want. There'd be a lot of just independent third-party stuff that's coming out. We already saw that Collective Minds stand, like you said, and I've used their stuff. It's nice. I was actually mad. I was like, dang it, that I was a little mad that I pre-ordered the Sony first-party charging station, because I'm like, what? It's more expensive and it doesn't have a place to hang your headset. It's like, the Collective Minds ones are really nice. So I'll be picking one of those up and checking it out and let you guys know how it is. Other accessories, yeah, they'll come in time. We'll see if they end up doing the name controller too. We've said before that, we don't really need to. I don't think you don't really need to. Maybe, like you said, something that you could have that attaches to both the orbs to feel like feel like more like a rifle or a gun or something. Sure, something like that might come along. I think additional haptics are a big possibility in the future as well. If some third party company, signs a deal with Sony and makes some haptics, haptic vests and things, or Sony releases their own haptic suit or vest, I could definitely see that being a thing. But yeah, it'll be really exciting. Just anything to increase the immersion.
Mad Max Gaming with the $5 tip, and I feel like I missed a tip regarding the same topic prior. So if I did, I apologize, whoever it was. At least you're getting your question answered now. With the $5 tip says, guys, didn't they release the Skyrim Special Edition to PS5? Maybe that's one of those hybrid games they're waiting to reveal. It might be in the game file. Yeah, I mean, didn't like Fallout 4 just get updated for PS5, or isn't that coming? Like, it feels very suspicious that here's a studio that is for all intents and purposes owned by Microsoft now, basically giving us unnecessary, I mean, unless again contractually obligated, upgrades to play the PlayStation 5. That would be absolutely perfect. We would kill for a next gen version of Skyrim. We'd kill for a next gen version of Fallout. Joshua Rosecart with the $2 tip says, what are the chances of getting Fallout 4 VR? I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, these are questions that we're going to find out the answers to soon, though, right? Because if we wait much longer, it's like then it gets less and less likely by the day, I think.
Yeah. Well, there's some games, especially being bought by Microsoft and stuff, we're just going to have to cut our losses. Probably no Ghostwire Tokyo. Probably no, some of these games. But
Ghostwire
there's
Tokyo
going to
was
be tons
perfect.
of. I know, but there's going to be so many good brand new IPs. We got that new one coming from the people that made BioShock. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would settle for that as much as people, I know people will want BioShock till the end of time, which rightfully so. But, there might be, some new stuff that comes along that'll be really, really great. So,
yeah. And we got one more tip, AJ. We can move on. We got Mike Blankenhorn with the $5 tip. Says, I want to use my PSVR 1 Move controllers on my PSVR 2 and share my social screen on my PSVR 1. What PSVR 2 adapters do I need? That just, AJ, that just broke my brain. I have no idea what he's trying to do. I want to use my PSVR 1 Move controllers on my PSVR 2 and share my social screen on my PSVR 1. What PSVR 2 adapters do I need?
You might be able to share the social screen or whatever, but actually in that article they do talk about that the PSVR 2 will have a social screen feature. Yeah. I don't think they specified, however, though. I don't know if it's like you can actually share a screen within the headset. Now that would be cool, because you can already do that on PSVR 1, where you share the headset to somebody else's TV with the share play feature. I'm sorry. Yeah, you cannot use the share play feature, though. You can use the share screen feature part of it, but you cannot have somebody take control, obviously, because the tracking and all that stuff that's required. But the other a cool tidbit that came from that thing is they did confirm that if you wear glasses, you can wear glasses in the VR headset as well. Yeah. Some people that have huge, big, bulky, hipster ass glasses, maybe not, but
time to get contacts. or lenses for your PSVR2. There are prescription lenses you can install usually on these things. So I've already gotten emails from places saying, yeah, we make prescription lenses for PSVR2. So
Yeah.
I would say that would be
That's good.
number one place to go. J Mao with a $2 tip says, the new lighting really highlights your gray beard. Thank you, J Mao. Go fuck yourself. Also, Mike Blankenhorn put like spaces between PSVR1 and PSVR2 and all sorts of fucking crazy places just to fuck with me, because we all know that it's the most ridiculous thing of all time that it's spelled PS space VR2. It's really, really dumb.
Brian,
AJ,
do you know what time it is?
you know, I did know what time it was, but it just totally disappeared from my run of show. Here, guys, it's time to play 20 questions, and let me bring up the game that I want so that I can have it handy and answer all the questions.
What game is it?
Well, that's an excellent question.
Dang it.
That's your first question. I can't answer because it's not a yes or no question. Guys, if you don't know how this is played, I'm going to think of a PSVR game, and AJ's got 20 yes or no questions, and only 6 minutes on the clock, and all of your help in the chat to figure out what game I'm thinking of. I'm going to... Oh, God, fucking damn it.
Shades of Gray Matter. P space SV space R2.
Yeah, I swear they hate me. They really
It's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, they do.
That
They
is
hate
just
me.
cruel.
Okay, I've got a game picked out, and I'm going to put some time on the clock.
You ready, cats? Let's do this.
Guys, this is way more difficult than it seems. There's like 500 or more PSVR games. I can't wait until we add PSVR2 games to the list, because we know the number one question every single time. Is this a PSVR1 game? All right, man. Where is my timer? I'm just like operating in slow motion right now. All right, here it is. On your mark. Get Des. Go.
Does it support joysticks?
Dude, that's such a good question.
Don't age it. He's already aging it, guys. What the fuck?
No, it does not. Well,
No joysticks.
no, it doesn't.
Does it support?
I'm not going to count that.
Oh my god, you
yeah.
guys!
It's
What the?
let's just put it this way: you're not playing with the DualSense. I will give you that. You're not playing with the
DualShock?
DualShock 4. You're not playing with that.
Well, now that 45 seconds have passed, I can get on to my second question.
This is what it feels like, AJ.
All right. So it probably uses moves. Does it support anything other than moves?
It does, in fact.
It does. Does it support the racing wheel?
No, it does not support the racing wheel.
Does it support the HOTAS?
It does not support the HOTAS.
What the hell? Does it support the 3D rudder?
To my knowledge, it does not support the 3D rudder.
What the hell? I'm burning through questions here. You said it supports something other than, so it doesn't use joysticks?
I said that question was tricky, so I just gave you a kind of a freebie and said it doesn't use the DualShock 4.
God damn it. I was thinking there was something else there. So it uses the aim controller.
Yeah, that's 5.
I didn't. No, I said it uses. That was a statement.
Was my last one wasn't 5? Here, it's 4. Then we're going 4. I lost track because
Okay. Aim controller games. We got this, guys. Okay, aim controller, but you can't. But there's probably. Is it a rail shooter?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
It's a rail shooter. Has this developer made another game on the PSVR?
Yes, they have.
Is this game okay, I'm thinking Dick Wild. I'm thinking okay, there's Blood and Truth. What the hell is that other game? Does this game take place on a science fiction Mars, a fake Mars?
No.
It's a rail shooter. Is it Is there a character? Is there a character? Is this game have a country comedy theme?
Yes.
Oh, is this game a sequel to another game?
Yes, it is.
Is this game Dick Wild 2?
10 questions, AJ. This game, made by PlayStation Limited. That doesn't sound right. Came out. I was trying to build this up. February 18, 2019. It is Dick Wild 2. Yes, it is.
Hells yes.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good game actually. Not bad.
Dude, when it came out, there was so many problems with this game.
It was rough.
Yeah, but man,
We played it together.
It's really fun. I feel like if you've got a multiplayer buddy and an aim controller, see, that's the thing. It has aim support, and there's a joystick on the aim controller, and I was like, does it do anything? Does that turn you? I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't think it does anything.
And so I don't
think it does.
I didn't want to steer you wrong. It's like if I said no, it doesn't support. Then you'd be like, well, it doesn't use the aim controller, and I was like, well, maybe it does. I know it used the aim controller in 2 moves. So it does sound like a porn name, man. Steve. That's sort of the point, I think.
It's true.
Yeah. The fact that Dick Wild 1 got a sequel was sort of shocking to me because Dick Wild 1 was impossibly hard, no pun intended. But anyway, listen, you guys, this has been a nice long show on a nice long Monday. Make sure you come back tomorrow because we're going to have a lot more to talk about. And of course, we're going to have a lot more to talk about leading up to the launch of PSVR2. In the meantime, make sure you join us over on Discord by clicking the link in the description. Join AJ's channel by clicking that link in the description, PSVR Underground, and subscribe to all the VR channels that you love because you got to spread the love around. You got to tell them how much you love them or they won't know how much you love them. Isn't that right, AJ?
That's so right.
Gone off the rails so long ago. Thank you to everybody who donated during today's show. Thanks to everybody who supports us on patreon.com/withoutprogames. Thank you to everybody who helped 20 questions. Join the chat tonight. To Josh Cat with a $2 tip says, happy birthday, Dave. It's Dave's birthday. Oh my God. All right. Well, we'll talk on Discord. It kind of hit me. And of course, thank you to everybody who sat back and watched the show and didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much. AJ, it's Monday. Can I cue the cat?
Cue the camera because I want to say see you guys tomorrow to Elvert GG Bambino Ramos says Dick Wild is an explosive game. Yeah, it is, baby. No, let's ride the game. Feline. Massive love to you. PSVR2 hype. Science. Sci-fi Gamecat Henry in the house tonight. Always doing the timestamps in the shows. What up, playa? Also, awesome dude. Drippy, the Wandering Gamecat. Big heart to you. Dark Angel 3. GG. Mike Kelly VR. You're awesome. We're not awesome. You're awesome, motherfucker. Yoshi, Gamecat, Rabbit, Pratchety says bye. Steve, IRE, 2 weeks to go, baby. Hector Robles, bye, peeps. Peter Venables, almost a fortnight left. Guy son, fist bump to you. The Vetter PSVR, my boys. Move Master Mick, the shape throwing PSVR game cat says TTFN, which I never know off the top of my head.
But I for now. Figured it out.
Nick the Game Cat. Oh, peace out, homie. Rap legend. What up? Says PSVR2 with the Crown King helmet. Yes, goddamn right. Looper the Underground Game Cat says bye. Secrets of cheers, guys. Brilliant stream. You're brilliant. Cheers to you, my friend. Zombie5150 says see y'all. Guys, you have a wonderful rest of the night. Blue Drew the Underground Game Cat Elite Name Squad in the house. Old Darth says bye-bye. Ian Stambridge, has Bryan managed to wrestle his keyboard back from Tornado yet?
Yeah. No, she took off. She's back in the racing seat. The racing seat's her new home. That's just where I don't get to use it. She sits there, dude. And the funny thing is, anytime you walk by the racing seat when she's in it, she looks at you and it grabs onto the seat and says, "I'm not fucking moving. This is mine." Like, it's very clear that she has claimed that as her territory. I'm not getting it back.
I love the pictures of her in the racing seat. Oh my God.
And there's so much cat hair on it. I mean, it is a layer of cat hair.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's craziness. But yeah, I'm gonna have to buy another racing rig and set it up next to her so that she can have that one, and I can play Gran Turismo. Okay, let's get out of here. Good night, everybody.
Let's go.
We love you so very much.
Meow.